also talk about other places besides Alaska, but mostly it's Alaska themed.
Alrighty, folks. Welcome back to the Mushing Alaska podcast. This intro is just going to be a one-man show. So I'm Brendan. I'll be giving you guys a quick little rundown. Excited for this next episode, as always. Our guest, Connor McMahon, is a returning guest. We've had him on a couple of times. This will only be a second episode, but we've recorded three different times. We kind of joke about it and talk about it in the podcast just because of, he's kind of remote outside of Whitehorse and sometimes the connectivity there is a little bit iffy. But anyways, Sean's not here. Quick update on that. So yeah, we got rid of him. It's just going to be me moving on. No, 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 I'm kidding. Couldn't do that. Couldn't do this without him, of course. But he is in the process of relocating from Anchorage, or excuse me, from Denali, and I think he got in yesterday and is staying in Girdwood for like a day or something. And then I'm recording this on Friday. The ceremonial start is tomorrow. So he's kind of like in that figuring out what's going on phase. He joked about it the other day too. It's like they pay me to not know what I'm doing until I just show up. So, as it relates to getting Sean on during the Iditarod, we're going to see what we can do. Obviously, his priority is going to be to the insider. And I guess for those of you listening that aren't aware, Sean was asked to return and work for the Iditarod, the insider. So last year, he had his own, he was like a one-man crew, is kind of what he described it as. So he was given like some I think Starlink or something like that, and then they would send him out to different checkpoints, and he would be manning the camera and be providing some feedback. And for me, it was fun to check in on. I didn't realize that's what he was doing at first, so I was getting like people were getting in touch with me like your brother sounds great, and I'm like I don't see any videos or anything, and no, he was manning the live stream at various checkpoints, but he wasn't just putting up the live stream and then walking away like they've done in the past. He was actually giving good commentary, and so glad that he's back, and we'll enjoy listening to him this year. And if there's any possibility of getting him in for our YouTube stuff, then we might try to sneak him in. But obviously, his priority is going to be to that. So I'll just give you kind of a quick intro today. A lot of times, Sean will take a question I give, and then what could be a quick answer turns into like a 10-minute answer. So this intro, maybe some of you will appreciate a quicker intro. Maybe some of you will miss Sean's in-depth answers, but we will find out. So obviously, we're excited for the Iditarod, and I'm excited to do the YouTube again with our guests this year. As of this recording, I haven't fully announced who those guests are, so I won't quite reveal it. But I would imagine by the time most of you listen to this, obviously the Iditarod will already have started, and so everyone will know who the guests are by then. So a couple things that I wanted to go over, and really just wanted to hit on one quick point, and that was in our last episode, we talked about the Yukon quest, and we kind of got a little bit maybe caught up in confusion or not being fully aware of what's going on at the Yukon Quest Canada. So we were talking about Jesse Terry, and he actually reached out to us and kind of wanted to provide a little bit of his perspective on the Yukon Quest Canada, and I thought it would be worth reading some of that to you guys. So, um, let's see. So, the mandatory rest for Yukon Quest is 32 hours, but we didn't do a good job explaining what's going on there. So, the large number and how it works during the race is that okay, the race they count rest on the trail as mandatory rest, and they only had one required stop at a checkpoint for the Mando vet check, which you could also choose between two of the different checkpoints. This format allows teams to rest when it suits their own team and not be forced to run to the next checkpoint just to start clocking mandatory rest. This means dog teams will be driven more true to what the team is capable of while still having a chance to be competitive. This race format also makes it more exciting for musher and spectator because you never really know when or where someone will stop to rest. It makes teams pass each other more often because they are resting at different places along the trail. In the end, Jesse feels that this format is better for the dogs and that it allows mushers to run their own race and team without having to push to a checkpoint to start getting to the rest recorded. So, Jesse, we appreciate you reaching out. We appreciate you listening. And we always enjoy being educated, especially me. Like I'm learning on the fly. And I think it was Jason Severs. I feel like that was the guest we had on that first was telling us about this. And I remember when we had him on, we were like wrapping our heads around it, and I could tell Sean's was really like, it was unlike anything Sean had heard of. And so yeah, but we appreciate you reaching out and adding your perspective to things. I would like to talk with Sean on the podcast when he is back in more depth about this and just kind of go back and forth like we normally do and get some of his perspective on it as well. So yeah, that was just kind of the one thing that I wanted to follow up on, and then I'll move into just kind of Connor prep for our interview portion of the podcast. Obviously, Connor he's kind of one of the homies. We first met him last year, getting him on the podcast, and we really enjoyed him. Super nice guy, very humble, down to earth. If you're not aware of Connor McMahon, I feel like he should be a fan favorite. That's just my personal opinion. But like every time I talk to him, whether it's pressing record and doing this, or just I've been in touch with him outside of recording. He's just such a fun guy. And I would love to meet him in person and get to hang out because I'm sure we'd have a blast. A couple things that stood out to me in this recording with him, and kind of in line with what I'm saying, he's got such a good attitude, right? So the example I'm going to give is, and he talks about it right off the bat, but um, he drove his drop bags from where he trains outside of Whitehorse to Fairbanks, which is roughly 14 hours. So he did that. I think he said he turned it into 2 days, but originally it was going to be one day. Turned it into 2 days, drop off, come right back, gets back. The truck that he has breaks down, right? And so he's literally, as we're recording it, he's got his truck at the shop getting fixed. And I don't know if that's me, and I'm about to go into the Iditarod, and we recorded this last week, so we're T minus 10 days or whatever until the race. I would be shitting my pants. I'm sorry. I would. But he's just like super cool, calm, and collected. And then what was funny is by the time we actually ended the recording and we were kind of like off air talking, he had just gotten a call from his mechanic that the truck was ready. And so yeah, just that stood out to me. I remember as we were recording in my head, I was just like, man, he sounds pretty like nonchalant about it when I would definitely be much more, I don't know, anxiety ridden than he was. And the other thing that kind of stood out, so obviously last year Connor ran the race, he didn't get to finish, and so we kind of talked a little bit about that. And one thing that stood out to me is that he updated his training heading into the season, and he started training earlier, and he felt like that it really, really helped. If I recall, we talked to different mushers, and there's different styles of training, but if I recall, I don't think that he upped the mileage per se. He just started training earlier in the season, and he felt that that made a huge difference heading into things. And he's feeling good about the race, and He kind of joked about being at the rookie meeting, but having already been there and you know, just a little bit different going into it this year than last. But he's excited, and we're excited for him, and we really hope that he, gets to know him and gets his belt buckle, and we can all celebrate him, uh, making that accomplishment and getting there. So. I think for now we'll just keep it short. I think sometimes less is more, and we've got a lot coming up with the race, both as like fans of the race, as our podcast, YouTube stuff that we'll be doing. So I'm excited, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. And thanks for listening. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Mushing Alaska podcast. We're excited for our next guest. He's on a short list. We were just discussing a short list of three-time, and it's only really his second episode, but it's our third time recording with him. Welcome back, Connor McMahon.
Thank you, guys. Great to be back. Good to be chatting with you two again.
Absolutely, man. We've had some good conversation with you, so glad to have you back. And we were just kind of before we pressed record, I was asking a couple questions. I was curious if you were in Alaska or if you were back home, and so just kind of fill in the blanks a little bit.
Yeah, I just got back. I was dropping my drop bags off, and of course, right, it's like coming right up to race time, so the dog truck has to do its thing and die. So it's at the shop right now, but it's all gonna be okay. It's fine. And probably get it back here tonight, and then we're looking good, ready to rock.
Nice. And for those of you listening or watching that don't remember, Connors lives in Whitehorse, so he's just casually making a 14-hour drive from Whitehorse area to Fairbanks for the drop. That's just like, it's a lot of work right there, man. That did you just do that all like in one go, or did you like break that into 2 days? How'd you go about doing that?
The plan was to do it in one go, but then I had lunch with Jeff and Katie Joe, and they're like, oh, well, we're doing like a little awards thing for our quest tonight over at Ivory Jacks. So, heck, that does sound like a good time. And, maybe go have a nap at Deeks thereafter. And so that worked out pretty good. Got to go see everybody and stop by Loro's house, made sure he was getting his drop bags done there and made sure he was putting in extra Crestables for me out on the trail. And he's got the new Nutella ones now. They got them with Nutella. So
that sounds like a game changer.
Yeah. I was like, oh man, hold on, I gotta go get my drop bags back. I need to put some of that in there.
Jeez. Yeah, it's a reason. Time and time again, the adage of, it's the accomplishment of getting to the start line. You're already running an Iditarod of sorts. Everyone has their own personal Iditarod, whether it's whatever you got going on in your personal life. It's just obstacles after obstacle after obstacle, whether it's just a casual fan or it's me or Brendan or it's you with your dog truck and breaking down, right now, a couple weeks before the start and figuring out that you made it back just barely with, I'm just sure you're going to be sighing some sweet relief to get to that start line.
Oh, it's going to feel good to pull that hook. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Like that's when the vacation begins. I mean, in
the words of Stu Nelson, man, one of the most amazing things I ever heard is over the next 16 days, you have nothing to do but the stewardship of your dogs. So that's perfect. That's perfect. I don't have to worry about no dog truck. No, I don't have to stoke a fire. I don't have to worry about nothing. Just take care of the dogs. So,
you seem to have like a good spirit about it. Like you just finished the Yukon quest, right? And then you got to get back. You got to turn around, do all the drop bags, go there. That's a lot of hassle doing that yourself, coming back. Truck blows up, right? It's like, personally, I might not have time for this podcast recording right now. I'm just saying.
It's a nice distraction. You know what I mean? I could either be pacing around, stressing about everything, or I could just sit down and have a nice chat with you guys and talk some dogs. So I took that option.
Nice. Yeah.
Thanks. We appreciate your time, man.
I appreciate your guys' time, man.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Yeah. So, we've been about a year since we've talked on the podcast, at least, and let's go back to this. Let's start with the most recent event that you were just in, the Canadian Quest, as you guys call it, the Yukon Quest, because that is
the Yukon Quest Canada.
Over here in Alaska, we have to specify Yukon Quest Alaska, and then because the Yukon is not actually in Yukon, but
we're doing the same thing over here. It's weird, eh?
Yeah, right. Well, so what was the how was it? I mean, I don't know what question to ask you, but that sounded like a fun trail.
See, the thing, it was kind of like on a majority of it was where I train and on my training trail. So me and Michelle both kind of, because we had to go through the parking lot about 30 or so miles from the finish where we normally park our trucks. And I thought that was going to be a real big deal, but it wasn't. The dogs blasted right through. They didn't even really seem to notice. We went by our camp out there on the trail, no problem. They were like, yeah, all right, yeah, whatever, boss man. You don't call that G, we're not going. So it was perfect. Yeah. The trail was pretty cool. It was the canal road, which travels from Johnson's Crossing all the way up to Ross River. And that's the South Canal. And then we did like a little loop up on the North Canal, just I think to add in some miles, got back to Ross River. And then, from Ross River, back down to Johnson's Crossing, then across Teslin Lake, back to Teslin, and 400 and something miles. I think it was just over a 450 or just under. I can't remember now. But yeah, lots of hills, lots and lots of hills, just all hills. And not much steering, it was highway driving. So a lot of times sitting there and freezing. It was freezing because it was pretty cold, I would say. At least, minus 30 Fahrenheit, most of the race. And there's definitely a lot of inversion too. So, you go down the hill and it's real cold down here. You work your way back up to the top, get a little warmer, sweat a little bit, go back down, freeze, and then come back up. And so that on repeat for about, a couple hundred times.
What was the mandatory rest for that race?
It was 32 hours. 32. So, I believe I ended up taking like 34 and a bit or something in around there.
I remember we talked with Brendan.
Jason Sievers. Is that right? Jason Sievers?
Yeah. He is a race marshal.
Oh, yes. But I was thinking of, oh my gosh, the Canadian guy that's always in the top 10, top 15 in Iditarod. What's his name?
Sebastian Schnoll?
No. He's just ran the race a couple of years ago. He's ran it a bunch of times. I think you've worked with him potentially, Connor. I want to say.
Aaron Peck.
Aaron Peck.
Yes.
Is he he's part of the Quest Canada, right?
Yeah, he's our musher rep. I think he's on the board there.
So he was the one, Brendan. It's coming back to me.
Yep, it is.
About how they're doing a ton of this mandatory rest, and you've run probably a few different style events. Of course, like Iditarod being the one that comes to mind for me, where you basically, you took your 24, and that was the only mandatory rest you got to manage your own schedule. And now you've got on the other end of the spectrum where you had 32 hours of rest. I don't know what the longest required stint of rest is.
6.
But 6. Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you think about doing an event like that length with, and you basically had enough rest in your minimum required to not have to take any additional rest unless you really, want to.
Like I would say I probably lost count somewhere along the way, and just went into Iditarod mode. I just, running my dogs as I see fit, resting as I see fit. And then, yeah, I kind of did a quick little calculation there at the end, and I was like, pretty sure I'm good. Right? Yeah. It's a lot to count. It's a lot to count and be keeping on top of when you're out there. You start getting sleep deprived, and you're like, 4 plus 3.5. Oh man. Like I almost dropped my boot on the trail because I had to take the thing off to count that high, and
Oh my god.
Frostbite on my foot. No, I wasn't that bad, but yeah, it's I
That's funny.
I like the idea of the rest, but it's a lot of counting and stuff like that, and it's kind of confusing as the race goes too, right? It's like, oh well, who's there and who's here, and I was like, oh well, what's it matter? Let's just.
So hold on, let me chime in here real quick. So just to make sure that I have this right, if I recall, what we discussed is the mandatory time is 30. You said 32, 34 hours.
32
hours, but that your time where you're not stopped at a checkpoint still goes towards that stop time, correct?
Yes, exactly. Okay. So like you say you pull over on the trail to do your trail rest. Mm-hmm. You gotta check the time real quick, pull out your vet book, you make a little note in the back, and then I guess they check that against the tracker and they look for sort of any discrepancies. And I don't think there has been any since we've started doing this, but yeah, and then there was only one 6-hour mandatory rest at Ross River checkpoint.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So for you, it's almost like one more thing that you have to keep track of while you're already doing what is a longer race, and it may be at times not the easiest thing to keep up with.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a numbers guy, so it was. Sure. It's just like a whole extra thing you kind of got to be thinking of. And
do you feel that if you didn't have that style of race, would you have like maybe changed up how you attack the race? Did it do anything for you strategically, or not so much?
No, not so much, really. Not so much. It wouldn't have changed my strategy at all. It's like, I think that would be around the rest that most mushers would be taking, would be in and around, that 30 to 36 hour range, right? I think that's lots of adequate rest. And yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. So it sounds like maybe if there was like a better system in place, whether it's your own system or like down the road, that maybe it'd be easier for that style of like keeping up with all your rests, right? Come on, Elon. Come back, Elon.
Oh, we're back.
There we go.
Yeah, remember, we gotta do those Elon pauses, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
That's exactly what he said.
That's funny, yeah. Yeah, it's hitting that satellite back up there.
There we go.
But yeah, no, something like that would be nice, right? If there was another way of them keeping track of it or something like that, kind of taking it out of our hands. And, at the last checkpoint or, maybe halfway through, they'll be like, okay, yeah, you need this much rest or something like that still. And yeah.
Thought they would have that in the check in, check out thing.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
Well, it sounded like it was their first year doing it, and there's only one way to find out if it works. And
yeah, so we all know Jason's always listening, so I'm sure that's gonna.
Good point. No, we haven't been very critical. We're just saying, all right, this is what you found difficult was to keep track. Jason's probably thinking. Yeah,
Jason's probably like, Connor clearly isn't a numbers guy. That's his own problem. So we're moving on.
I'm gonna get a math lesson before the next race. I bet you.
Or you just have to like build something that has, 36 things that you can just like mark off or something.
Yeah, I could I just like elastic tie an extra set of gloves on my hand and then I'm fine. I get to leave my boots on.
Um, so yeah, I was gonna just say, race takeaway. Like it sounds like there were cold conditions. It sounds like there were a lot of hills. Um, you know, just any takeaways. How'd the dogs look? Did you struggle with sleep deprivation? Anything like that?
Yeah, I struggled with my gear actually. I had some major gear malfunctions out there. In about the last 100 miles, something went wrong or couldn't figure out the suspenders on my bibs. So my my bibs were kind of down around, halfway down my thighs most of the last 100 miles. So I was putting my beaver mitts in my underwear, trying to keep my butt from freezing. And it was, yeah, so I had a major gear malfunction there, and all my base layers kind of got tangled up around each other. And that was kind of frustrating trying to fix that while you're moving on the trail. And so, yeah, we got some new pants.
I instantly, like, while you are telling me this, I'm instantly going to Instagram, like, all right, tell me there's a picture of you with your pants halfway down.
Oh, well, yeah. If you watch the finish video of mine close enough, you can kind of see how far down they are. And, I'm keep trying to pull them up. Yeah, I had a cold butt at the end of that race, fellas. I can tell you that.
I love it.
Yeah. Got back to the truck. I told the handler, like, guys, my butt's really cold. We got to get me some new pants on quick.
How's so you gotten your dogs, like how old are you have like dogs, to my understanding, kind of all over the place as far as age?
No, the majority of that team was between 5 and 7.
5 and 7. Okay. And so, you've probably seen some really like significant changes in your team, I would imagine, since Iditarod last year through the events you've run this year.
Yes.
And for the better, I would presume. So, firstly, what was the checkpoint you ended your Iditarod at?
Galena. We pulled the plug in Galena. Yeah.
It's a long way from Willow. Yeah. What it sounds like your dogs, like to have the mental fortitude to not only pass the dogs past their chance to go home at 30 miles, 420 miles into a 450-mile race, and for them to not only just to pass it, I always find it kind of like, when you're going and doing a run, like a 50-mile run, and you get past the turn for home at 40 or 35, and I see like one dog in the middle of the team, just doing one of those, like just trying to turn the team onto the trail. It's usually the young dog, and they're like, guys, it's to the right. Trust me, I know.
We're here.
That, like, that does say a lot about your team mentally. If you're telling me that, they just went right on by, at the that long of a race. And so, what are you seeing from your team growth wise over the last year?
They're steady. Seen some maturity come into them. They're not driving as hard. We've slowed it right down, and we move around 7.5, but steady 7.5. And a lot more fall training this year. I really switched some things up. I think I missed a lot in fall training last year, and that turned out to be my downfall, I believe. So we switched a lot of things around with our early season training. And that Copper Basin race, everybody always says it, but that's a great race. It really built them up, from everything from the river crossings to that warm weather that we went through. It was, I think that did my team a lot of good.
Yeah, I've talked to a couple now. I hung out with Cody, Straith and talked to Josiah briefly. That there's some iconic photos of that water crossing. There's one of Josiah that's just so sick.
Isn't that a good photo, man? Whitney really got that perfectly, didn't she?
Yeah. Apparently, like Cody was saying that, like for the front of the pack, it was maybe a little bit better. As far as you could see, the markers were definitely up, and like
markers
across the river was like evident, and then there was some talk of like some deeper holes in that water crossing that some of the back of the pack found. I don't know if you know anything about that.
I found it, man. I found it. Yeah.
I found it.
I called it straight ahead. I should have called a hawk. I said straight ahead and just watched, the front half of the team kind of just flop into the river. And I was like, oh, and then by that time we were all in the river. And I was kind of looking for trail markers. I'm like, where am I going? And then I could see booties floating. So I'm like, oh, let's just follow the booties. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
And so when your sled's going like that, like, are you, what's going on with, what do you got? I don't even know. I've dealt with my over.
Yeah. I came to like, not necessarily like a life over limb, but it was like, we're getting out of here now, guys. Like, let's go. And it was, kind of quick little panic there, get everybody back out and on dry ground. And by the time I got into the checkpoint, I still had about 8 inches of water sloshing around in the bottom of my sled bag. So I just had to tip that right up and over. And, it was good mental training for me too, though, right? Coming into a checkpoint after something like that. And, it was a good reminder to stay focused and, just get right back into it. It happened. It's over. It's gone. Move on. Get into the next thing. So I think it was a big learning curve for me. The dogs didn't mind, really. It was like, 30, 40 degrees Fahrenheit out. It was nice and warm. I think they enjoyed the cool off, right? It was more in my head that got the worst out of it than anything, but
yeah, it's crazy how you can be clicking along nicely on the trail, super slow, slow Copper Basin, 6.5 miles an hour or whatever. And then you like round a corner, you see markers and signs of chaos. And next thing you know, your fucking dog team is swimming across the river and you're like, what?
I thought I already did the water crossing. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, maybe this is the open river. Yeah, that's exactly where I was in that mind state too. I was like, oh yeah, man, like that hump, that was a really cool run. That's beautiful. I guess I got some, ditch banging back here through the willows, and then we're gonna be back in Glen Allen and see everybody. This was really fun. And then next thing I know, I was swimming, and I was like, oh. Keep your head in the game, right? That was a good lesson.
So, nice. In terms of your dogs, you with just a couple more weeks until the Iditarod, I'm curious if you have any like tough decisions to decide, like if there's any dogs that are on the fringe, or like I forget how many you have. Was it 23 that you have?
Yeah, about 20, 23 right now.
And
in the training program.
Got you. So yeah, is there any tough decisions to be made ahead, or do you already like kind of know your team, or what?
Yeah, we got the 16 figured out right now. So this weekend, actually, I'm gonna go do a 120 mile little community race around here, and me and my handler are going. We're gonna bring out 20 dogs, so that way, my dogs that aren't coming on the Iditarod, they all haven't got to do a race this year. So I'm gonna bring the boys out, make sure they see a start and a finish line, right? They've been training hard too, and kind of felt bad just ending their season on that note. So like, oh, come on guys, we'll go do a nice little race. And it goes up to Braeburn Lodge, and that's one of my favorite checkpoints around. So yeah, we'll go up there, have some cinnamon buns, and get one last good stretch, little training run in, make sure everybody's clicking and exactly where they are. I'm going to fully load up the sled as if I was running, almost a 16 dog team, right? So I'll have the sled loaded, and just kind of get everything ready and prepped. And then off to Alaska. So we'll hopefully be finishing that race Sunday morning. I'll go home, have a good little rest, and then we'll leave Sunday night for Alaska again.
Nice. Okay. That's like the 23rd or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, I should be leaving the 23rd. Yeah.
Yep.
Before midnight on the 23rd, we'll be leaving. Then we got our EKGs and blood work and all that stuff is the 25th at 4 p.m. So it gives me plenty of time.
Nice. And I was going to ask you, do you have any thoughts or perspective on a Fairbanks start instead of, doing the southern route?
Well, yeah, I just finally memorized all the checkpoints on the southern route. I was all proud of myself. I was like, I know the mileage, heck yeah, Connor. And then, here we go, new checkpoints. All right. Back to the study board.
Yep.
But yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. They haven't done the Fairbanks route much. So, there's not as many mushers that have got to see and experience that. And so I'm looking forward to it, right? It's going to be fun. I'm definitely going to feel like I'm sitting out on some parts of the trail I really enjoyed last year. But then again, there's always next year, right? So,
yeah. And I guess, based off of what you've heard of the trail conditions, were you kind of like a little relieved that they made that decision? Or were you just kind of like, you're just going to trust that, whatever happens is going to happen kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Things are always changing out on the trail anyhow. So, you can get your one report a couple weeks before and then you get there and things are totally different. So I'm definitely like a one trail marker at a time kind of guy. I'll figure it out once we get to it. I think I'm as prepared as I can be for any sort of situation. So yeah. And yeah, I definitely got full trust in the trail crew and the Iditarod to, put us on the right trail and a little rock. So yeah, I wasn't too worried whatsoever. I figured either way it's going to work out. There's going to be either a big dump in the snow or there's going to be this or, something, right? Something will get us there, man.
Nice. Yeah, there's nothing Connor can do to change, the outcome of those decisions. And yeah, I bet that's a great musher mentality of just focusing on your dog team or your kennel or your goals.
Exactly. It's just, the things that are in your control, that's all you can worry about, right? Like, the truck's blowing up, but I'm not a mechanic. I don't got the rod, but I know a guy who does. Let's see if I trust him.
Nice. That sounds like it's been yeah. You said when you said the fall training, does that mean that you kind of like started earlier, kind of try to get a little bit?
Yeah. Fall training's kind of misleading. It's summer training.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was summer training. Yeah. We started in August this year. Just kept everything nice and low and slow. And the boys came out with me. We got all our firewood for the winter. I would go out there, run out 30, 40 minutes and got my sweet little training truck still and go out there, park that, let them have a water break, fill up on firewood. And yeah, so we started working in the summer. So it was nice. Yeah.
And would you say just kind of starting earlier has been the biggest difference in your training this season, or have you played with different mileages or, anything?
I've kept my mileage actually a little bit lower than what I like my distance wise. I've kept that a little bit, not doing much over 50s really, a lot of back-to-back 50s, but nothing really longer than 50s. And yeah, I'm really, really noticing that early start and that repetitiveness in the summer's fall training there, because yeah, I'm not seeing the same issues that I hit last year in Iditarod. So
I would think from everybody's got the right training for their team that they're trying to figure out or whatever, but it just seems like generally speaking, like starting as early as you can and just having that wider start. If you lived in a place where you could start in July and go out on like a 5 mile run.
No. What happened?
And just take that out and just have those like short runs last for those first couple months, that it would only do you good versus kind of getting your first 20 under your belt at the end of November. Does work for some people, but
I thought my phone was charging, but it wasn't.
Oh, no worries.
All right,
all good.
back at it. Round 4.
There we go, baby. Round 4.
We were just talking about Mitch coming back to the northern route, the way northern route,
Yeah.
with a fierce dog team and a couple years out. Will he be fresh?
Yeah, he's gonna be moving, I think, eh?
Yeah. I mean, I would think, like, if he can physically hold up, I know I know that, you mush for 30 or 40 or whatever years, you're gonna have some serious aches and pains. So at 65, what if he ends up? That would be cool. That'd be cool to
Wouldn't it?
If you were able to win it. I mean, you only had Ryan and him as the former winners, and then Jesse out with something.
Wow, I guess so, eh?
Yeah, no Pete Kaiser.
Yeah,
no doubts. And so Jesse Holmes, Ryan Reddington, you got Paige in there, Drobny, and then Mitch, and a lot of other names that have something to say about me not saying their names, and there's also 16 rookies, and it's a cool. I'm excited. I'm starting
to feel rookies, eh?
Yeah, you got your how was the rookie meetings? Did you get to chat with any of them?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, it was great. Me and a couple of the boys were doing our second lap at the rookie meeting, so that was nice to see the fellas. We're the veterans of the rookie meeting there. So.
I can see you sitting down before it starts, sitting next to the first time rookie and being like, "You probably, do you need any advice or anything about how to do this?" Yeah.
You want to see me? You want to see my new rule in the rule book? Got to have 2 drivers at that ceremonial start, fellas.
Is that a
Connor McMahon rule?
Ceremonial.
Yeah, it's in red. Yep. It's in red as a new rule added.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a sponsor in your ceremonial start? Is that what it was?
No, I did. I had one in the bag, but you got to have a secondary driver as well, right? That's why everybody had those tag sleds. I was like, look at all these guys got so many friends and stuff, man. They're all coming with them. I was like, that's awesome.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, now it's in red, and so you're pointing out to the rookie. You see that red bold right there?
Yeah, so you make sure you put that tag sled on, right? But yeah, we're what were we talking about just before my phone died there? We're
all training, and how I think that I think it's not like a bold statement to think if you're able and fortunate enough to start early and get a wide long base, if you can spread out the same amount of miles between early August and the start of the Iditarod versus spreading out that same amount of mileage October 1st to the start of, it's only going to allow for better recovery, I would think. And exactly. But then if you're grinding all summer on the glacier or something, that's different, but yeah.
Yeah. So last summer, not this one, the one before, that was my first summer not running my dogs all summer. So I didn't, I kind of misjudged what it was going to take to get them back to where they normally are at, right? After having the whole summer off. So rookie mistake, but we've corrected it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I heard someone say you got the best hair.
I know. Hair. I saw that too, man. I messaged Eddie Burke right away. I was like, "Hey, you see that?"
Hey, you didn't message me, man. Come on.
Well, no, now the guys that we left out for, the top 5 there, they won't, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's yeah. How's you? I see you got it braided up. I feel like that's got to be the play.
Oh, that's the key, man. That makes all the difference. I haven't had any dreadlock starting or nothing, right? Just braid it before a long training run and come home, pop it out. It's even curlier. It's awesome.
So back to the dogs is like who your best dogs were going into the Iditarod start last year. It wouldn't necessarily need to be lead dogs, but just valuable dogs when it comes to good eaters, hold their weight well, eager, not working too hard, but definitely pulling their weight, that kind of stuff. As who you went into Iditarod with those dogs in mind on that list. And then now, is it the same list? Is there maybe 1 or 2 extra ones on it, or?
Oh, there's actually 5 extra ones on it, and shout out to my buddy Ben Good, because
nice.
Yeah, we had a little chat at the Copper Basin there, and he sent me down some dogs. Dan Caduce brought him down for me at the Quest. He came and stayed with me here and brought me down 5 dogs from Ben Good, and yeah, they've been excellent additions to my team. So thank you, Ben.
Hell yeah! Shout out to Ben.
Yeah. We know he's listening, so
yeah, let's go, baby.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So you got that much more, solid of a team. When you look at your dogs, did you see some of the dogs that stepped up? I know the race didn't end like you wanted to last year, but you've also had this 400 plus 450 race this year. Like, the dogs that you maybe at the start of the year were thinking these are the ones that are going to be the ones. And then oftentimes I feel like the best dog going into the year ends up just struggling with their weight, or they are having this nagging wrist thing, or like who's talk about some specific, names, dogs.
Yeah. So we got Rock, Ice, and Ned. They're 3 brothers on my team, and they've always been solid. And this year in the Copper Basin, 2 of the brothers kind of, we had a knee injury, and then we actually had a myopathy case. So they got a lot of good rest. They skipped the 450, but their head is it's good. And they're always steady, always ready for some food. And yeah, they've got back into training here now, and they're showing me. They're like, yeah, boss, and we know you left us on that 450, and they got something to prove there coming up. So, and then there was a couple that we just had some chronic things coming back up, so it was really nice to get that extra 5 in from Ben and just give those dogs, you know what I mean? Just you guys get that rest in for the rest of the year, and yeah, it was, I still got my main girl, Mama Mako, and she's always my lead, man. I absolutely love that dog up in lead, but she's kind of passed the torch off to her daughter and little Timo. So, I got 2 young girls up there running in lead position for me, and they're just little balls of energy that feed off each other. They're just fiery as anything, and it's just it's real nice to see a new front end being taken over, right? Watching Mako and Grotto kind of pass the torch, and then they'll be like, yeah, we'll sit back here and team. We don't mind that, call us if you need us, put us up there if you need us, but we're fine to sit back here, Connor. We're all right. We trust those ones up there too. So it was kind of cool to see that synergy in the team. You know what I mean? Because in years past, I couldn't put Grotto back in the team. The dogs in front they would just stop. We can't run with Grotto behind us. But now, everything's kind of switching and transitioning out of the 16 dog team that I got for Iditarod. I would say I got about 8 really good Jihad leaders out of that 16. So
wow. Nice.
Yeah, we've had a lot of dogs step up and tell me we can do this too, Connor. Right. So it was been really, really nice to see. Really nice to see. That's That's it's the most satisfying part of doing this, right? Is getting to watch these dogs mature and really step up and take a little bit of pride in where they run and how they run. And I had a little superstar on my team. I'm gonna rest him though. He's only a youngin. He's about 2.5. Panda. He was leading in the Copper Basin for me and did some leading in the Quest for me, and just awesome, stellar little dog. And but he's young. He's 2. He's got lots of time to prove lots of stuff to me. So and I got a lot more mature, experienced dogs that are going to come on the Iditarod with me. And well, I think Panda will probably make his debut next year. But yeah, it's nice. I got a lot of young up and comers itching for spots on the team. But
that's pretty cool that you get to see that in your team, like that. Like you see the dogs, a little bit unsure. What's the program here? What, they don't know your rookie Iditarod, what they're getting into. You're trying your best to prepare them for it. You also hadn't done it before.
Yeah.
And so then they get that 600 plus mile experience on the trail. They get another 450 last week. Several other just minor small events, not including the Copper Basin, not being minor, but just the fact that they've just accrued all this experience, and now they've just not only on their performance, but on their confidence. That's the thing that's got to be making something that you're seeing. The drive, the confidence, they're like entered, like just the way they hold themselves too.
Yeah, watching them come off the straw, shake it out and get ready. They know what they're getting in for, right? They coming off that straw, shaking it out, taking that pee, giving me that look in the eyes, telling me, yeah, all right, yeah, we're done with that straw, man. Let's go to the next straw. All right, boys, let's go.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we really just got in that mind state, I think, this year, All right, we're leaving this straw. Let's go to the next straw. That's it. Just, one straw spot to the next. Nice.
Hey, I was curious, what are your plans beyond this year in terms of it sounds like you're just alluding to the fact that you're going to have your dog race next year. But like, are you trying to be in mushing for, the next decade, or like what do you see yourself doing here? I'm just kind of curious.
That's a good question, man. That's a good question. I ask myself that quite often. It was a 10-year race plan when we started. That quickly switched to a 15-year, and now it's just like, well, hell, like, Martin Boozer did it for quite a long time, and every year it gets a little bit easier. Not just the Iditarod, but this racing in general, right? I'm getting a lot of sponsors that have been sticking with me for quite a while now, and we got a really good relationship. And it's just getting easier to get good help, good repetitive people around watching the house when I'm gone to, helping me out training, and got some really good handlers this year. And things are really starting to come together. So I think we might be doing Iditarod for a few years here. Yeah.
Nice. And I mean, like
hell yeah, dude.
Last time we talked, we kind of talked about like balling on a budget. And so like, I feel like, to have that thought process of like, oh yeah, I want to do this for at least the next couple of years minimally. Like, but yet, on the money side of things, it's like, you're not doing this for the money. You love to do it. Right. So, I guess like I guess the sponsors have made that a little bit easier for you, or like,
they take care of me. They're awesome. They're awesome. And there's a lot of them that they're just in it for just to help me do it. Right. And there's some great people behind this team. It's definitely not just me doing it. It's a lot of support.
Nice.
Danny, Rob.
Takes a village.
Boys. Yeah. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
It's coming together pretty well around here nowadays.
Good to hear. And in the summer,
definitely not putting no money in no retirement plan or nothing, but we got booties. We got booties, right?
All right. What was your 2024 summer like?
I went fishing.
On that lake way up north.
Yeah, Great Slave Lake, guiding up there for Plumber's Lodge and just having a great time, catching some lake trout, cooking some good shore lunch, hanging out with a bunch of really cool folks, from my clients to my fellow guides. And yeah, it was good to be back in the boat, spent some time on the water, right? I'm normally doing 100 days a year on the water before I got so hard into the dogs. And yeah, it was nice. I didn't quite get my 100 days in, but we got 60 in, so it was good.
Nice. Yeah, that's a pretty nice change of pace, I would imagine. Going and I'm sure you can miss your dogs and your home and all that, but I'm sure it's nice to get out on the water.
Well, the girlfriend Jen, she was back here watching the kennel, sending me lots of updates and pictures and stuff like that. So
nice.
Yeah, big shout out and thanks to her as well for doing that. It was a lot of work for her, but yeah, it was well worth it.
So I know we want to be respectful of your time. I know that the connection's been in the ass, living in the middle of nowhere for you, and I'm also somewhere situation. But how are we doing for time for you? We can kind of wrap this up and ask you some of the heavy hitting questions.
Yeah, let's get. I'm good on time, but yeah, let's get to the heavy hitters.
All right. Usually the heavy hitters will take like 20 minutes, anyways. What was coming to mind was what is your in your sled repair kit? What is this one thing in it that you're like, you gotta have this thing?
Hockey tape, man. You gotta have hockey tape.
You mean like the electrical tape?
No, hockey tape, man. Hockey tape.
Okay,
it's like
hockey
that cloth. What you wrap your stick in. That's the stuff. It's like that cloth tape. You can take it, pull out a section, spin that, put a nice rope. You got rope, right? It's got multiple good purposes. A Band-Aid for your hand. Yeah. Hockey tape does a lot. Hockey tape's super key. Some zip ties. Definitely gonna want a 7/16 and a 1/2 inch wrench in there. Cut two end closed off, weld them together, drop that thing in there. It doesn't need to be big, doesn't need to be long. You're going to want a Leatherman. What else I got in there? Extra pins for sure. Some extra bolts, some hose clamps. Then your axe, my buddy Isaac showed me that. An axe is also a stanchion.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That was what was the run he learned that on last year?
I was in the Burns.
That was in the Burns.
Okay, yeah. Burns, yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome. I was like, hey, check this out. I was like, well, that's pretty nifty, Isaac. Good job, buddy.
I remember watching the video. I feel like he has a video from last year's race where he goes into some detail about that crash and how he had to use an axe to make a stanchion kind of thing. So
yeah, his axe was his stanchion. It looked pretty solid. I'm pretty sure that axe stanchion would have got him. Well, unless he needed his axe, that would have been something.
Yeah, I was thinking if you show up to the checkpoint and you have your axe as your stanchion, is that still count as having your mandatory? If you, I think it does. I think it still goes.
Right. It's on the sled. It's there.
It's on the sled. Yeah, it is the sled.
It is. Yeah, it is. I can't lose it now. It's my stanchion, right? And actually, another little trick I do with my axe. Speaking of axes, I use that Fisker axe, and that's got a hollow shaft in it. So you take a bunch of survival gear some matches, a little bit of fire starter, all that. Tie a string to a booty, shove your booty down there, shove your gear down there, put a little bit of hockey tape on the end. And then, if stuff ever starts hitting the fan and you need some gear, pull that string. You got your matches, everything you need right there.
Oh. I like that.
John's taking notes right there.
That's a pro.
I saw you.
Pro stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Any tool that's a multi-purpose tool is a favorite tool of mine for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What kind of harnesses?
I've actually made my own set of harnesses this year.
Interesting. What do we do? Tell me more.
Yeah, we got some front chest pull harnesses. And I use them in variation with Man-Mat X-Backs and Man-Mat half harnesses for sure. Shout out to Man-Mat. That's one of my sponsors as well. But I found the need for something a little different. So we got to work. Me and Jen got sewing machine right back here. And yeah, we got to work and I came up with this kind of like a front chest pull harness, a big wider band, but softer padding and a 2-inch webbing. So it comes across the front, nothing going between the armpits, comes up mid pull point, just around middle of the back. And then it's versatile. So you know what I mean? It will swing around. Say the dog's in wheel, it can come down and have a lower pull point. I really like those harnesses. I use them in the Copper Basin. I use them in the Yukon Quest. Yeah, they're. I'm enjoying them. I'm enjoying them for sure.
Have you tried the ones that are like the standard ones that I think like Pete uses? I don't know what the brand is, but I've seen the across the chest harnesses that's like some company makes.
Yeah, so there's it's similar to that, a little bit shorter.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And
that's pretty cool.
2 bands on top, it's just one single band on top. Yeah.
Yeah, the that eliminates any armpit rub.
Exactly.
And then the versatility of where the pressure points are. Yeah, that I hadn't thought about that aspect of it. But it seems like
variation of harnesses too, right? Being able to switch and move, right, and have that adaptability. Because I was dealing with a lot of moist weather here, right? A lot of damper weather, and the rubs kind of got to me a little early this year. And yeah, so I was struggling with the rubs. And so just sat down and I ended up going through like all my ratchet straps because I didn't have any good webbing or anything to use. I just started cutting up ratchet straps and making ratchet straps.
Can't wait to see this.
Yeah, now I'm going. Well, I got good webbing now. I made them all kind of uniform, right. But the prototypes were all made out of ratchet straps and stuff. And then I think I was going to the Copper Base, and I'm like, all I got's ratchets. Where's all the straps?
You got the metal pieces.
Yeah, I just got the ratcheting part. I just got one end. I got like 15 of those now, but like only 2 straps. So
that's great.
Michelle, if you see my sled on the way up, please bring it.
What do you mean? What do you?
I don't know. My sled goes flying off due to my lack of ratchet straps.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. All right.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So a non-mushing related question. Favorite album, like what's an album that you listen to on repeat that you have no skips on?
Anything Johnny Cash, man. I got an extensive Johnny Cash playlist. There's some Grateful Dead. We can just toss that on, and you could just put 4 songs on it, and I'll just that's fine.
All right, I like it.
Yeah.
All right,
we got to talk some music here after we're done recording.
After we
recommendations for you.
Yeah.
And then let me get a back-to-back with childhood celebrity crush.
Well, Avril Lavigne, man, of course, right? Her own 90s kids.
Yeah. I like that. She's kind of had 13, a comeback
14,
now.
Yeah. Wow, man, that answer came a lot quicker than I thought it would.
Yeah, I know. You were like, you cut us off with the answer. Favorite strawberry try? Look at Avril Lavigne.
I've been waiting for that question.
Oh man, that's funny, eh?
Great.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore of mushing?
Like who do I think
for like
is,
any reason you want. You could be
it doesn't have to be
winning. It could be just nice people, good dog people.
Dan Caduce.
Nice.
Yeah, Dan Caduce for sure.
Yeah.
Michelle. Yeah, just the dog care. Really like both their styles. So yeah.
Shout out to Michelle and Dan Caduce. I love it.
Michelle Phillips. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like from my perspective, since I don't really know them that well, they just like, there's something that and from my perspective, I don't really hear much noise coming from their corners. I think I see Jody Bailey saying like, I get to keep up with her on social media. She's super nice person. But like Dan, I don't even really like, I mean, I've seen a couple of his interviews. Michelle, she's like, she just goes about her business. Something that I just like, I like that about mushers when they just like show up. They've put in a bunch of work, and maybe I'm just missing their PR conferences, but I'm pretty sure that they're just kind of like to quietly train their dog teams and go hit the trail and enjoy it.
Working away, right? Not worrying too much about what people think or what people are doing, and just really concentrating and getting into it and refining their style and their technique. And yeah, I like it.
Nice.
Okay, what fur do you have on your kit for that you wear?
Oh yeah. Actually, we're just switching some things up, man, because I have, I can be observant sometimes, and Dallas doesn't really wear a ruff. Jesse doesn't really wear a ruff. So, and I needed myself a new parka this year, and so yeah, we're going ruffless.
Going ruffless. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've seen Jesse wear a really nice like hat with fur on it underneath his during Iditarod, but I don't think I've ever seen Dallas wearing fur, and I'm always like, dude, you are fucking this one up. Like, I know goat, but like, dude, I just feel like I put that thing on and I'm just like
I've definitely added a beaver hat to the gear, and there's also going to be like a wind anorak shoved in there somewhere with a wolf ruff or Wolverine ruff on it for sure, right? Because Wolf or Wolverine. I'm big on the Wolverine. I like the Wolverine. And then I did add a pair of beaver mitts. I actually got my first pair of beaver mitts this year, so they'll be in the sled too.
Okay,
they'll be in the sled too. Yeah, they're huge, Jay. They come all the way up right past my elbow, man, and they keep your whole
perfect for Canadian dogs.
Yeah, I could use them as snow pants too, or something if I needed.
Jeez.
Or you can put them down your underwear to keep your butt warm. Then it works for that too.
Dude, I was just like, I'm thinking about the Yukon River. You're gonna get real familiar with it. You already have spent some time there, and I know that was a tough section of trail for the middle and back of the pack last year, between Ruby and Caltag. But yeah, I just was thinking, like, ever since I floated the Colorado River a couple ago, and like we would be floating, and it would be I was with these like river rats, they just like all dirtbag boaters that love just like whitewater, and live for it. And then there was me, I'm not really super in that seed, and And they'd always be like, dude, like I'd be like, yeah, it's windy out today, and they'd be like, dude, the upstream dub, dude. No one everyone hates upstream dub.
You don't want
And
the upstream dub at all. No.
no, so I'm just like, oh, I'm praying for you guys to have a 2017 conditions cold and fast. But you know, how you feeling about Yukon River?
I love the Yukon River, right? Like I run on the headwaters of the Yukon up here, right? So like it starts up here. I dump my blood, sweat, and tears into this the start of it. So whenever I get back on it, it kind of does feel homey to me. You know, I've got to keep a boat or two on the Yukon River in the summertime. So it feels good. It's a whole other world down in that area, the Yukon River. I almost didn't recognize it. It was pretty big, right? So yeah, but it feels really nice always to get back on that Yukon River, and let's hope when I come on next year, I'm saying the same thing.
Yeah, dude, I just feel like the for Brendan, you know, it's just so fucking big, dude. It's like, I mean, do you know the length of it from where you are to the Barren?
Oh, dude, it's something like 3,000 miles or something, isn't it? Like it's,
dude, 3,000 miles, like the highway of the Yukon in Alaska for it's summer and winter. Yeah. And dude, like flying over that was like that country on the trail. I was just like, God, it's just so deceptive because you're like, it's a river. Like, well, it's, you know, oh, I'll just go up to the river bend that you're looking at is like 14 miles away. And you're like, yeah, it just looks like it's right around the corner, you know.
Or at least uphills on rivers, right? Like they're not just flat.
Yeah. And that's on what's up with that, dude?
I don't know how that works, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're not get enough momentum or whatever. But they're not. I was tripping out on that. I was on the river, like wondering, is it me going slow? Is it the weird lighting? No, it is like uphill sometimes. They're going down, right down river.
Yeah, it's ice. Ice is a weird thing, man.
Yeah, I was
special place.
As you guys are going down the Yukon River rabbit hole. So shy of 2,000 miles long. It's a little over 3,100 kilos long. So maybe that's what you were thinking there, Connor.
Yeah.
Third longest river and fourth longest river system in North America. So interesting.
Okay. Yep.
Damn, that's like crazy. That's not even like, how can that not be number one? Dude, that just feels like a number one stat line, but I guess it's a number 3 stat line.
What is number 1?
Yeah, hit me with that. Let's go.
Check out this rabbit. I was gonna say
I'm gonna go
Mississippi.
Okay, yeah.
Dude, the length,
I was gonna guess Columbia.
Yeah, Columbia feels good. That feels good.
Doesn't it? It's a long one too.
Ooh, okay. All right, here we go. I got it. Can you guys figure it out though? Can you talk your way through it?
We're probably both wrong, eh?
You're close.
Okay.
So Missouri River, number 1, Mississippi, number 2, Yukon, number 3.
Okay.
Yep. And your Colorado River experience, Sean, is 5. So
okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyways.
Heck yeah.
We've successfully gone down the rabbit hole on that one.
Dude, have you like, there's a scene that of like floating the whole Yukon River, like that's a thing people do, I think. Like, do you like you being at the headwaters? Like, do you know, maybe not the whole, but like doing like a certain section? Like,
yeah,
is that something?
I've never got to do it, but like, they got this race over here called the River Quest, which goes from Whitehorse to Dawson City. You boys ever want to jump in a canoe and come over? We should do that.
Okay.
Is that
450 miles?
It's a canoe, no, just floating down the River Quest, that makes it like 500 miles.
Yeah, it's in between 450 and 500 miles, but like there's an 8-hour mandatory rest, and a canoe does not need massages or food.
That's such a good point.
That's a good point. But what about the people in the canoe? I'm more thinking about
500 miles, dude.
500 miles rowing.
That way anyway, right?
That sounds insane.
Yeah, you just sit there. You don't, you just sit there. Just let the one up.
Winners are doing it in like 40 hours, like 44 hours, I think was the winning time last year. It's incredible. Those guys. Yeah. Yeah.
When do they stop like accepting your finish? Like when do they withdraw you? Like what's how much time do I have to do
what
it?
a cutoff would be, but I got buddies on the river. We could stop there.
Okay. All right. Yeah, dude, that would be
like stand-up paddle boards and all that.
What is the date?
Ish, I think is July or August. It's the dead of summer. In the heat of summer, they do it.
June.
I'll bucket list it. I'm gonna bucket list it.
Yeah. We'll put it on the list, fellas.
All right, I like
canoe. I'd be down for more like
boat, and we just go cheer them on, right? We just take the boat down.
Yeah, that might be
too, right? Right, that's good.
Okay, you got a motorboat? It's like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I got a Suzuki. Get up there, man. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, that's such a cool scene. So I guess you're quite familiar with the river in the summer and the winter. But man, that is just, that would I've never floated on it, and I would be keen to even just do like a micro trip one day.
Oh yeah. Come to Dawson City. I keep a 16-footer there with a 30 horse on the back. We go mess around on the river. I'll show you some of my favorite.
When do you start? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, your fishing season starts
like end of June.
End of June. Okay. All right. There's potential for an early June scenario.
Yeah, or even late because I'm back like mid-August, right? Still got some summer left there.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Brennan. Yeah,
I want
you want a real? That would be like a real, like proper adventure, but like not like a total Summerfest, but it could be, but shouldn't be, but could be fun.
Summerfest. We're good. Yeah.
All right.
Two strokes are good. They don't need much loving.
Yeah, I can bring my little pack raft to go and do side quests, and that sounds great. Okay, wait, are we on a podcast right now? Okay, yeah. So completely out.
Edit out the back 20 minutes of river talk.
I think it's fine, right? Probably they can just. I agree. They'll be fine.
I agree.
Yeah. So let's see, Brendan, what do you got?
I think that we got some good content and probably could wrap it up and then continue to chat and laugh offline.
Yeah, man, I know it's a hectic time. I'm glad we can provide like an hour or so of you just hanging out with the boys and of relief and procrastinate your tasks.
Yeah, my all my other stresses. Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate you guys too, man. You guys come with me on a lot of training runs, man. I got every episode downloaded.
Nice.
Wow.
Ben can have the number one fanboy spot, but I'm up there too. I'm listening all the time.
Nice. Thanks, man. What's Ed? Shout out we know you're Feral Racing, but maybe you can shout out some sponsors and
oh yeah, for sure. Dr. Rob, Danny Hamble. Yeah, you guys rock. Dog's Choice Premium Dog Foods, Man Matt. There's Nana's Crafts here. It's a local craft store in town. They're a huge supporter of me. You saw my Canadian bandanas last year. That's where they come from. They really helped me out. The Ritter family. There's just a lot of sponsors. H2O Outfitters. It's a company I guide for around here as well. He's been a huge supporter. My good buddy Billy LaHer. I was fixing my truck right now, working, burning that midnight oil, making sure we're set to go and letting me kind of relax and not stress out too much. So yeah, there's a whole lot of people to thank, and yeah, definitely huge huge thank you to everybody. And if I have forgotten anyone, I'm sorry. I'll get you on the next one.
Thanks, Connor.
Thanks.
Heck yeah, guys.
Mushing, Alaska. And we also talk about other places besides Alaska, but mostly it's Alaska themed.